Once upon a time, there was a bookworm named Benny who just could not get enough of those crazy ancient mythology stories. The ones with gods behaving worse than a bunch of frat boys on spring break, those were Benny's jam. One day, Benny decided to dive deep into the mythological literary vault to uncover the most epic, most bonkers, most side-eye worthy tales ever told. So he made himself a nice tall glass of divine nectar, or maybe it was just Kool-Aid, and cracked open the first tome on his list. 1. The Epic of Gilgamesh. This Sumerian yarn about the mighty Gilgamesh and his bro Enkidu was one wild ride. Slaying monsters, spurning lovers, having existential crises, it had it all. Though Benny couldn't help but wonder if Gilgamesh ever considered anger management classes. 2. The Odyssey by Homer. This classic Greek epic followed the struggle of Odysseus just trying to get his booty back home after the Trojan War. But with all the detours to Heebie-Jeebie Islands and pissing off Poseidon, it took him 20 years. Benny's mom couldn't even get him to Walmart that quickly. 3. The Iliad by Homer. Benny was a sucker for Trojan War lit, especially when it involved Helen of Troy's unforgettable male objectification inception. Damn, no wonder they went to war over that face, Benny gasped between bites of ambrosia-flavored granola. 4. The Poems of Hesiod. These mythological origin stories from the OG Greek philosopher had Benny's head spinning with family trees of deities and primordial forces getting it on. Benny felt dirty for reading Hesiod's foreword. Goddesses of Helicon, let's take this epic from the top. 5. The Rig Veda. Translated by Ralph T. H. Griffith. These ancient Sanskrit hymns praising the Hindu gods reminded Benny of that one hippie phase in college when he tried lathering himself in patchouli oil for cosmic oneness. He still had flashbacks. 6. The Mahabharata. Translated by M.N. Dutt. Benny had to consult several chiropractors after lugging this 1.8 million word Sanskrit epic around. It chronicled the battle between two families of cousins over rulership of the ancestral kingdom. So basically, the original modern family feud. 7. Metamorphoses by Ovid. Ovid's collection of transformation myths proved that ancient Rome was crawling with all sorts of freaky body-morphing furries just raring to get in on that animal action. Benny started looking at squirrels differently after reading Metamorphoses. 8. Poetic Edda. Translated by Olive Bray. These Viking Age poems were jam-packed with badass Norse gods, heroic sagas, and delightfully gory death chants. Benny liked to imagine football players reciting stanzas while painting themselves with battle stripes. Pure virility. 9. The Mabinogion, translated by Geoffrey Gantz. This medieval anthology gave Benny all the Welsh folklore he never knew he wanted, including one banger about a woman who gave birth to an entire litter thanks to supernatural insemination by a stud horse. We snaw, indeed. 10. The Nibelungen Lied, translated by A.T. Hatto. These legendary Germanic heroic poems featured plenty of dragon slaying, dwarf murder, and betrayal most foul. Benny decided he definitely preferred his Teutonic myths über alles others. Here's more of the top 100 ancient mythology books. 11. The Prose Edda by Snorri Sturluson. Benny had to give props to Snorri for trying to explain the utterly bizarre Norse pagan belief system in such a dry academic way. Chapters like The Plying of Cosmic Misdeeds and Odin's Raven Spies kept things delightfully nonsensical. 12. Egyptian Book of the Dead, translated by E.A. Wallace Budge. This compendium of Egyptian funerary texts was essentially an instruction manual for not going to Sphinx Hell. Benny figured he'd rather spend eternity battling Apep the snake creature than sit through another of Uncle Ernie's slide night presentations. 13. Popol Vuh, translated by Alan J. Christensen. This sacred Maya text detailing the creation of the world, gods, humans, and pretty much everything had Benny constantly asking, and then what happened? It was like the mythological equivalent of watching a surreal, ball-trippy Terrence Malick film. 14. Kojiki, translated by Basil Hall Chamberlain. As one of the earliest chronicles of Japanese mythology and history, the Kojiki offered up such mystical morsels as gods churning the ocean with a jeweled spear, Kinki, and delivering the still-birthed island of Awaji through the veil of reality. Benny had several "wah" moments. 15. Nihon Shoki, translated by William George Aston. Not satisfied with just the Kojiki, Benny explored this 8th century lit companion covering the mythology of Japan's legendary rulers and provinces. He couldn't shake the feeling it was written by a bunch of unreliable narrators. 16. Megillith Antiochus fragments translated by Reverend Moses Gaster. This deeply riveting text about the Maccabees overthrowing the Seleucids in the 2nd century BCE ensured Benny never fell asleep while reading ancient Jewish mythology again. That's a lie. He totally passed out halfway through. 17. Tales of Aztec Mythology, translated by George C. Vaillant. Human sacrifice, ritual bloodletting, betrayal most vile. This ancient Mesoamerican anthology offered everything a growing warlock could ever want. Benny practiced his heart extraction technique on some unsuspecting potatoes. 18. Kalevala, compiled by Elias Lönnrot. These traditional Finnish folk myths and legends were like the X-Files of European mythological canon. So many bizarre, paranormal happenings. Benny joined the SCP Foundation's book club after this mind melter. 19. Moindo Epic, translated by Daniel B. Boyk. The central Bantu creation story may have had an uninspired name, but the tale itself was pure poetry. Benny particularly enjoyed the sun and moon's sibling rivalry and the epic's low-key environmentalist themes about respecting nature. 20. The Dior's Lament from Anglo-Saxon poetry. This short Old English lyric encapsulated the struggles and tribulations of Germanic legend. To Benny, it read like an ancient Orden twist on a bleakly existential emo song. Rain, rain, go away, this mead tastes of dismay. Phew, that's 20 down, only 80 to go. Benny is going to need to stock up on more snacks and caffeinated beverages to power through all these remaining mythological freak shows. The ancient world was one bonkers place, am I right? Want me to keep dishing out these delightfully unhinged summaries? Here we go. 21. The Zend Avesta, translated by James Darmesteter. This primary collection of Zoroastrian sacred texts was like the Cliff's Notes version of religious mythology. Benny imagined Zoroaster being like, blah blah blah, good versus evil, light versus dark, angels versus demons. Y'all get the picture, right? 22. The Vedas translated by Ralph T.H. Griffith. As the oldest scriptures of Hinduism, the Vedas made the Mahabharata look like a children's book of the month. Overflowing with mystical hymns and rituals, it gave Benny spiritual vibes galore. He started wearing obnoxiously loud printed pants after reading it. 23. The Ramayana by Valmiki. This classic Sanskrit epic, chronicling the life and adventures of Lord Rama, was quality entertainment according to Benny. It had everything: kidnapped princesses, monkey armies, noble kings, and their haughty wives getting max fury road ragey. 24. Fear and Fictionos, translated by Albert Mugardichian. With a title like that, Benny thought for sure this Armenian mythological text would deliver. But between the endless pagan diatribes against Christianity, he found it a bit preachy. Where were the cool monsters at? 25. Derveni Papyrus, commentary unknown. An ancient Greek mystical commentary offering wild allegorical interpretations of an Orphic poem? Benny nodded off, just typing out the description. Sometimes mystery is overrated, my dudes. 26. Hymns of Orpheus, translated by Taylor Comerford. Speaking of Orpheus, his hymns were a total throwback to the OG ancient Greek mythological bard life, though Benny always imagined him rehearsing sick lyre riffs while scarfing down some ultra-tangy tzatziki on the side. 27. Greek lyric poetry, translated by M.L. West. Benny went into this expecting the Greek version of Drake. What he got was more like a Fantasy Island edition Danielle Steele novel, in poetic form, complete with illicit romance, heroic boasts, and raunchy innuendo galore. 28. Karaka Samhita by Karaka. This OG Ayurvedic medicine text from ancient India delivered all the wild health tips. Benny learned so much, like how carrying a rabbit's foot in your left pocket totes increases virility. Who knew? 29. Sushruta Samhita by Sushruta. Picking up where Charaka left off, this Hindu surgical guide taught Benny more about heads, bodies, and holes than he ever wanted to know. The chapter on removing secret demonic possession Vasukis was particularly illuminating. 30. Chinese Creation Myths by Yuan Qi. These origin stories about the formation of the earth, sky, man, and everything in between told Benny the Chinese ancients were obsessed with balancing opposite cosmic forces. Yin and yang, push and pull, Kim and Kanye. Deep stuff. Whew, that's 30 down. Benny is still chugging away at all this primordial myth action. From holy hymns to ancient medical texts, these relics are a true trip down denial. And we're just getting started on unveiling the utter insanity of humanity's earliest belief systems. Grab your togas and your sacrificial knives, folks, because the mythological madness has only just begun.